Greetings everybody, Zed here. Today, I am here to give you my top 5 tips on how to use the new artifact reshaping tool, Dust of Enlightenment. I have seen so many people drop the ball on using this tool to its full potential, and I'm eager to share my thoughts on how I'm planning on using the tool and passing that on to you guys. After I give my tips, I actually have a little bit of a treat at the end of this video. I'm going to be using my 7 Dust of Enlightenment that I've accrued on my account so far to be shaping some of my own artifacts, sharing with you my thought process behind why I chose those artifacts, and seeing if we can get some better rolls to have some better builds. Disclaimer, I am a whale. Those of you who watch my channel, you guys already know this. I am a big spender. I max resin refresh every single day, and I probably spend about 80% of my resin on artifacts. I have every single character in the game. You can check my Akasha down in the link below. I try to maximize every meta character in this game to sort of balance everyone's builds and kind of have like an overall really strong account. That being said, this makes my standard for artifacts exceptionally high. I spend a lot of resin farming artifacts, and I look for really high quality artifacts and try to settle for nothing less. I just want to make this abundantly clear. Everyone's at a different place in the game. Everyone spends a different amount of money on the game. Everybody has different goals in the game, and that's perfectly okay. That being said, the tips in this video aren't really for casual players. They're kind of more for sweaty tryhards like myself. People who are really trying to make the best builds possible for the characters that they love, really trying to play meta, and really trying to just really go hard on their artifacts. But if you are a casual, I would say there's gotta be at least a couple tips here you can pick up here and there, so don't sweat it. There's definitely something you can glean from this, so I hope you'll stick around. If you feel like my standards for artifacts are too high, that's perfectly acceptable. We're all here to have fun. Let's just leave it at that, okay? Now, having gotten all of that out of the way, here are my top 5 tips on how to use the artifact reshaping tool, Dust of Enlightenment. So the very first piece of wisdom I want to impart is a quick one, and I cannot stress this enough. Understand the value and preciousness of a resource like this. I am begging you. Hoyo has given us the opportunity to basically turn trash into treasure, and to ruin something with such an immense level of capabilities would be such a waste. Just recognize how valuable this is. As someone who's farmed thousands and thousands of artifacts and built so many well-built characters, I can't stress enough how hard it is and how amazing it is that we're actually given something that can turn an artifact into something amazing. Just please make sure you are putting the right artifacts to work here. We only get 3 to 5 Dusts of Enlightenments per patch. Now, we got 7 in the first patch, and that was really nice, but that's kind of a limited thing. We get 3 to 5 per patch. Don't waste them. If you're free to play and you're only getting 3 per patch, you have to make it count. You have to. It is so crazy the amount of terrible base pieces I've seen people rolling on other social media platforms like Reddit. I am just flabbergasted. You're being given this precious gift and you're wasting it on the worst base pieces that don't actually help your character get better. It's absolutely crazy. So we're going to go over what you should be doing in the other tips, but my first tip is basically just recognize how powerful this tool is and make it count. Make it count. There's only so many of these we're given. So the second tip I want to give is just understanding the difference between a 3-line starter and a 4-line starter. Now at +0, an artifact can either have 3 lines of substats or it can have 4 lines of substats. This is a very basic tip, but when you get a +0 artifact and you level it to +20, you get 5 rolls, one at 4, 8, 12, 16, and 20. Now, if an artifact has 3 substats at +0, it uses its +4 roll to get the 4th substat, which basically means it's always a step behind. So a 3-line substat starter can only get 8 total rolls of substats, while a 4-line starter can go up to 9. So there are 2 takeaways that you want to take from this. One is the obvious. If you have 9 total rolls, obviously the artifact has a higher ceiling potential. An artifact that only has 8 total rolls can only be so strong, even at its maximum ceiling, while a 9 total roll artifact can go even higher. The second thing you really want to know about that is if you have 9 total rolls, the probability of the artifact being better is higher. So this is important. A 4-line starter just gets more rolls. So if you get more rolls, the probability of the artifact turning out better is higher. It's like rolling a dice 9 times instead of 8 and trying to land on 3 as many times as you want. If you roll 9 times, the probability of you getting more 3s is higher. I feel like people forget that that's the case. Not only is the ceiling higher for potential power, but you just get more chances. So if you have this limited resources that you can only use so many times, you don't want to squander it on an artifact that has less potential. So you might be asking, how can I tell if an artifact that is leveled up to plus 20 is a 3-line starter or a 4-line starter? You can actually click on the reshape tool while you're selecting an artifact, and if the artifact is at plus 20 and these little numbers that are next to all of the stats, this 2 next to crit rate, this 1 next to crit damage, this 1 next to flat attack, if they add up to 4, as in the case of this artifact, this was a 3-line starter. It basically rolled attack percent at plus 4. So that put it a bit behind. An artifact like this, however, if I hit the reshape button here, you can tell this adds up to 5. You can see the 3 next to crit damage, the 2 next to elemental mastery. This means that it is a 4-line starter. We got 5 rolls after it already having 4 substats. This is critical to know. So for me personally, on choosing types of artifacts to reshape, for me, I really feel like for Flower and Feather, you need to do 4-line starters, and preferably they need to be on set for the character that you're building. I think Flowers and Feathers are common enough. It's definitely a lot easier to get a 4-line starter for these 2 pieces. Now, when it comes to Sands, Goblets, and Circlets, this is a whole nother story. I feel like with Sands, Goblets, and Circlets, they're a lot rarer. The reason being because Sands, Goblets, and Circlets, you also have to worry about the main stat being rolled. Flowers and Feathers have a fixed main stat, while Sands, Goblets, and Circlets do not. So for that reason, Sands, Goblets, and Circlets are a lot harder to come by. So I feel like 3-line starters for these pieces are definitely acceptable, but even still, it kind of bothers me. I really feel like the reshaping tool is such a valuable tool. I almost want to just wait for perfect 4-line starters for these as well. Sadly for Skirk, I haven't been able to do this yet. I haven't been able to find a 4-line attack Sands, a 4-line Cryo Goblet, or a 4-line crit damage Circlet. I've been farming thousands of pieces and still haven't found one. So the thought of using a 3-line starter for these 3 pieces isn't that far-fetched for me. It is very hard to find these valuable pieces. Using an off-piece Sands, Goblet, and Circlet is far more common, but I still would probably shy away from reshaping off pieces. Even for Sands, Goblets, and Circlets, to me, it feels a little bit on the bad side. If you really just want to perfect one specific character's build, and that's all it would take is just reshaping a nice off-piece Goblet, I'd say go for it. But for me personally, I'm probably going to wait for the perfect pieces to show up before I use these limited resources on them. That's just a personal preference. Everybody's going to have different thresholds with which they feel comfortable using their reshaping tool. But for me personally, those are my limits. And coming in with tip number 3, know what stats your characters benefit from and only roll pieces that have every useful stat the character you're building for can take advantage of. So some characters here, like Skirk, for example, only benefit from 3 stats. You've got crit rate, crit damage, and attack percent. You could say flat attack a little bit, but that's kind of a weak subset to actually go for. It's generally just 3 stats for Skirk. Now, you do have characters like Mualani who benefit from 4 stats. She has also crit rate and crit damage, but she also really likes HP, and she also benefits from elemental mastery as a vape reactor. Now, going back to Skirk, who only benefits from crit rate, crit damage, and attack percent, I want to explain the benefits of making sure you're rolling pieces pieces that have all 3 of her beneficial stats on them. Now, there is the first benefit, which is super obvious. Obviously, a piece that has more stats that are beneficial to a character has the potential to be a lot stronger. It has every single stat that she could possibly want: crit damage, crit rate, attack. Of course, this piece, by and large, is going to be a better piece at plus 20 than a piece that was missing one of these stats. But one thing, again, I think people fail to realize is the probability aspect. Just like with the 3-line starter versus the 4-line starter, the more stats you have that benefit a character on a piece, the higher the probability is that that piece is going to turn out amazing when you reshape it. So for instance, if I was to reshape a feather like this that has crit damage, crit rate, and attack percent, I only have to win the 75% 5 times. Whereas if I took a piece like this that doesn't have attack percentage, while it does look very enticing with crit rate and crit damage, not having attack percent means I need to win the 50-50 5 times instead of the 75-25. You can see how that is much more difficult, and I may end up using more Dust of Enlightenment than I want to use to try to make this piece good that, for instance, has 3 beneficial stats. If you guys are curious about the math, the probability of rolling this piece and landing all 5 rolls on one of the 3 beneficial stats here is close to 24%. While the probability of reshaping a piece like this that only has 2 useful stats and getting 5 rolls into the 2 useful stats plummets all the way down to about 3%. This means that this piece has almost an 8 times more probability of turning out to be an amazing, useful piece than a piece like this, which only has 2 useful stats. 8 times. That is actually huge. So guys, please make sure when you're doing your rerolls, look at the stats that the character needs and try to focus on pieces that have lots of the stats that they need. You're just gonna have a better time reshaping, I promise you. Look for those pieces that actually have a ton of potential, also at a high probability rate of turning out spectacular. Now, this applies not only to landing the rolls 5 times, but, maybe if you're not looking for the absolute perfect piece, you'll settle on something that maybe rolls 4 times or 3 times into a useful stat. These same probabilities, while maybe the numbers are different, the theory still applies. You're going to have an easier time leveling up a piece that has more useful stats than one that has less. And it sounds super obvious, but I feel like a lot of people are neglecting these probabilities. All right, now tip number 4, I'm going to switch to Kaniche for this one. Use the artifact reshaping tool as a way to free yourself from a specific domain or a specific strongbox target. I promise you, this is the best way to do it. The last thing you want to do is use your reshaping tool, something that is a limited resource that you have a finite amount of, on an artifact, and then farm the domain tomorrow and find the same exact piece and have it roll near similar. You're not going to feel good. You're going to hate that. Now, the reason I'm using Kaniche as an example for this on my account is because this is a perfect example of this tip in action. Now, the only other characters on my account specifically that I want to have on Codex are Mavuika and Mualani. Now, I have both of these characters built the way I want them. They're both top 1% on the Akasha. I'm fully happy with their build. Now, Kaniche, on the other hand, I have him at top 2%, and I want to move him into top 1%. I have a really good flower and feather. They're totally serviceable, totally passable. I have a pretty decent offset goblet that I'm pretty happy with. Nothing absolutely spectacular, but I'm very happy with it. His circlet, pretty darn good. What I don't have is an amazing Sans. My Sans is kind of mid. It's only 30 CV. It just isn't really giving that much. So one thing I decided to do was, hey, I'm going to use my elixirs. I'm going to make myself a attack Sans for Kaniche. Now, luckily, I landed an amazing attack Sans for Kaniche. I have a 4-line starter here that's actually amazing. It has both crit rate and crit damage, obviously, because I picked those 2 stats when I made it. If I perfected this Sans, if I reshaped this Sans, it's the perfect contender. It's a 4-line starter. It's on set. I can move my Kaniche into top 1% and I can move on. I don't have to farm Codex anymore. I'll have a top 1% Kaniche. I'll have Mavuika and Mualani where I want them. I have no intention of farming any more Cinder City for the other pieces in the domain. I will be done with Codex if I reshape this artifact. So guys, think about your account holistically. What sets are you farming? If you found the perfect set piece for a specific set, would you be done farming that set forever? That's the perfect time. Use an elixir, get that piece, then reshape it, and you'll be done. Trust me, the last thing you want to do is use your reshaping tool and then get a similar artifact because you're still farming a specific domain. Use these tools wisely. All right, guys, and for the final tip, tip number 5, avoid using the reshaper for just a minor benefit. You really absolutely want to be making sure you're using this tool to turn artifacts that are absolute trash, something that looked amazing at +0, was a 4-line starter, had like all the stats that a character needed, and then when you rolled it to +20, it rolled into absolute garbage, got none of the stats that you wanted, maybe once or twice. Those are the artifacts you want to be picking for the reshaping tool. You do not want to be reshaping artifacts just to try to move one stat that you didn't like into a stat that you did like. You want to be moving mountains with this tool. Think of your account holistically as an entire entity. You want to raise the entire floor of the artifact quality on your entire account. You don't do that by turning an artifact like this one on screen for Hu Tao that only rolled into defense one time, but otherwise rolled into all of the stats that she loves. You don't want to reshape this just to move that flat defense roll into another roll. It's not worth the resource. You know how hard it will be to actually make this piece better? You are going to spend so much of your Dust of Enlightenment. You absolutely do not want to do this. Take something that's absolute garbage, make it treasure. Again, the perfect example for this, my Kniech with this Sands. We rolled it. It was a 4-line starter. Look at the flat HP on that. Booger. It's terrible. Focus on pieces like this, pieces that had so much potential, but they just got obliterated. Don't waste your time on pieces just to get one little stat moved from something undesirable to desirable. Find the trash that has potential. Like I said, these Dusts of Enlightenments are so rare and valuable. You don't just want to throw them at an artifact and hope that things work out. You really want to use these smartly, use them to better your account to the best of their ability. All right, guys. Now, having said that, I think the time is now. I think the time has come to move our Kniech into a top 1% Kniech. Like I said before, we made this piece here. It is a 4-line starter that we crafted with the elixir. It is an amazing base piece that just turned out into garbage. Now, this will be my first reshaping ever. Let's just fucking go for it, guys. Let's just fucking do the damn thing. I'm so fucking nervous about this right now. I've been holding out, just waiting for the right moment. So this is a big moment for me. Let's just fucking go. Let's do it. Brother, what is that? That's okay, it's a little bit better. It's not exactly what I wanted though. Guys, it's not exactly what I wanted. I'm keeping the results for sure. We used 2. I only have 5 left. So guys, I don't really like the way this piece turned out. 3 rolls is not, it's just not where we want to be. I'm not happy with this. I think we're going to give it one more go. We could even give it a 3rd try and get 3 guaranteed stats, which would be absolutely crazy. I think we should just fucking go for it. Let's do it. I'm just going to do it. Bro, what are you doing? Fuck. I hate this. I hate this so much. It's worse, guys. It's worse. Bro, I fucking hate this so much. I hate this. I hate this. Why can't we just get a good piece? Do we go for it one more time? I have 3 guaranteed enhancements now. Do we just go for it? Bro, 1 HP, 1 EM. Are you kidding me? We're building up for an advanced reshape at some point, okay, guys? It's coming, all right? We're going to have a divine reshape at some point in a couple patches. We're just building up to that, okay? Let's just Oh my god, let's just do it. I'm just doing it. Stop rolling into EM! I hate you so much! Bro, this is such cringe. Oh, this is so cringe. Dude, we just end the video here. I'm ending the video here. This is so cringe. You know what? I'm gonna keep the EM because at least that's a valuable substat for like Mavuika or like an off piece by any chance. We're probably gonna roll this again. I really want this to roll 4 or 5 times into crit rate and crit damage. Like I said before, with one of my tips, the more beneficial stats you have, the higher probability you're going to have. But I couldn't pass up on this, okay? I couldn't pass up on this. I mean, it's a perfect situation for Kaniche. I had to take it. He only has 2 beneficial substats on an attack sans. So, guys, I think we're just taking this one and then we're going to end the video here. This is so cringe. Thank you for watching. Greetings, everybody. Editor Zed here. I wanted to do a follow-up here. I didn't realize at the time of filming this, but the sans that I made that I reshaped here is actually crazy insane for Mavuika. It's an attack main stat sans with double crit and elemental mastery and all 5 rolls going into those 3 stats. One thing it was able to let me do was put this on Mavuika, making it so that I could give her an off-piece circlet. That allowed me to move my on-piece circlet from Mavuika to Kaniche, and by doing that, I got him into the top 1% easily. So reminder, when you're choosing pieces to reshape and you're reshaping your pieces, think about every character on your account and whether or not this piece, if it doesn't go right for a specific character, can you use it on another character? The more backup plans a piece can have, the better chance you're going to be able to make good use of it, even if it doesn't go perfectly the way you want. I also wanted to point out, I probably plan on doing a follow-up video to this about holodeck exegesis. I have a lot of things to say about that, so expect that video in the next couple weeks here. See you guys in the next one.